So a few days ago, Linda and I had a Dharma conversation. And in this conversation, we referred to three areas um, where we felt like it was important to use awareness and discernment to be able to come up with and actually do appropriate ethical actions. And of course, we always believe that we need to do, or it's even possible to do actions that can happen given the conditions and circumstances of our lives. So please do keep that in mind. And the three areas that we spoke about a few days ago were old age, sickness, and death. I'll put that into one category since it's often spoken that way in Buddhism. The, uh, the second one being the political climate we're living through. And the third being influences of AI, which were just, at least for me, just beginning to understand or figure out what we're talking about. And each of these are very complex. And of course, those aren't the only challenges that we need to take appropriate action. There's so many others. Um, there's so many other personal ones. There's so many other more part of our society. But we thought this was plenty to talk about. So then that day, my meditation began, as it commonly does, with just settling in. I feel my body, my breath, and I enter into a somewhat altered consciousness, not extremely altered, just somewhat, a familiar state of mind. And I wove in and out of this throughout the meditation, maybe even more than usual. Um, I don't know. But this kind of altered consciousness is very well trained in me and is very common in my meditations. And then my attention went to the specific things in my life the stressors in my life, really. So I'm going to talk more about my own meditation this time, as you can tell, a little different from how I usually give Dharma talks. And I'm going to speak right from out of my meditation uh, journaling after that meditation. So immediately my attention went to my teeth. I can't remember exactly what sparked that, but I have a lot of issues with my teeth, a lot. Um, and one oral surgeon I went to quite a while ago, even named the specific number of the gene that I was cursed with. So next February, and I've got it scheduled, I'm going to have my 10th oral surgery in a series of oral surgeries that have been going on for the last few years. Um, and it wasn't supposed to be 10 surgeries, believe me, but there were problems along the way, which were stressors in their own right, for sure. But I'm thinking about this surgery, maybe not appropriately, but I think it's right, as, quote, the big one. I'm going to have more teeth pulled, more implants placed. Yikes. But back to the meditation. Within this meditation, I sensed something new. And the word came with this new sense. It actually came right at the same time. And the word was resolve. And the first resolve that came was to keep a positive attitude about this surgery. Now, I had to really think what I meant. What did I mean by a positive surge attitude? I don't mean like Pollyanna, like a grin across my face, but more that really sort of, oh, I can't even find quite the right words here, but really sort of voting for, no, that's a bad word. Anyway, that the surgery will be successful, having faith in it, not blind faith. Because believe me, I had lots of conversations with different medical people involved in the surgery, my dentist, the oral surgeon, the assistant, et cetera, that this surgery, they thought it would be successful, and I was assured that they wouldn't do it if they didn't think so. So it's not blind faith, but it was the internal faith. It's something a little different than they told me. It's more like, oh, I took it in and I'm resolved that I'm going to stay in that. Not always, but more or less, mostly. And then also the word courage came through. I resolved to be courageous through this difficult process. And in the meditation, it almost felt like I was gathering together my energy and motivation. It was sort of, it felt like an energetic kind of thing. And then following the resolve about my teeth, the next resolve quickly followed, and it was regarding political action. I resolved to do specific things regarding demonstrations and postcards, and that's what I can do. And then the last topic, and this all happened quickly as sometimes can happen in meditation. I resolved to listen to a recording of an AI, about AI that was presented to Buddhist Sanghas. Linda went to this workshop and she said it was, I think she actually said it was fantastic, which is a big statement. But at any rate, I've started. Um, so then after this meditation, or actually as I was writing this talk, I started to wonder, so intention, that's a big thing in Buddhism. Intention is one of the spokes um, on uh, on the Eightfold Path. That's and um, but I'm not using that word. That's not the word that came to me in my meditation. It was resolve, and there was some kind of determination that made it a resolve, like some kind of commitment, and I could feel it. It was a feeling quality as well as a thinking quality. It's almost like I had planted a stake in the ground. This is what will be. Um, so, of course, I wonder if I set the bar too high. And then I wondered, can I be resolved, but resolved with some leeway? Some weeks I will not make it to a demonstration. I know that. I might feel under the weather, or the weather might be so awful I can't get myself outside. Um, with my oral surgery, I am sure that there will be times when I will feel dread and fear, but I hope I don't second guess my decision. I don't think I will with this resolve, having had this resolve in my meditation. And I have to say that yesterday I did start listening to the recording of the workshop about AI, and I actually found it at the very beginning very interesting. There's so much here to learn and consider, and it's so easy to take a black and white attitude. AI is all bad. AI is this wonderful new thing. I don't know how many people that I know think that, but really to really know about it felt like a relief. So I'm also well aware that an experience I have in meditation is sometimes I feel a kind of certainty. But then I come out of meditation and that doesn't feel that certain. And so this resolve had a kind of flavor of that. Um, but here it is, a few days later. That's not that many days later, but I still feel resolved. And I'm also aware that writing this talk and speaking it right now, it's going to help reinforce my resolve. Now, this was my meditation. This was my experience in this meditation. I know you likely have your own ways that you motivate yourself and try to figure out what is the appropriate action and how to get yourself to do it. And this concept or experience of resolve just might not even be your way. It usually isn't mine, but I was grateful for it and am grateful for it right now. So I leave you with that wondering, with that question. How do you motivate yourself to take appropriate, skillful actions?